Hello again, and thank you for joining me. I want to talk today about what I call the death of exclusions on Meta. Um, and it's again talking about the old school way of thinking, and not understanding how big of a change Meta has actually gone through. And understanding that Meta now is actually a predictive engine and it's AI first, like I said in my last video. So, what happens is that in the past advertisers used to look at audiences like past purchasers as people they want to exclude because it's saving them money. Why would I tap into the same audience again and again? But the truth is that what happens is that once you hide that audience from the account or that specific campaign, you're kind of like shifting or poisoning even that campaign because you're hiding certain signals because AI is has taken over Meta and the way that it does. When you're hiding signals, it's bad. And in here, in this specific action, what you're doing is basically hiding the best signals because those people are, you know, the ones who actually bought. So what happens is you're not just poisoning the account and pixel and feeding it the wrong data. You're actually also paying something like a purity tax. Basically, you're telling them, I want only new people, and that's not just manipulating the way that AI works and not trusting the flow where it actually understands who to bring. It also blocks certain signals from people who are lookalike audiences. So what happens is that you remember that we used to make lookalike audiences and then do the 1 2 3%, and some people did like multi ad set structure, and some people just threw it inside one CBO or whatever campaign, and then they let it run. What happens is that nowadays Meta is actually taking those purchases and understanding who the audience is. So it's kind of like a real time lookalike audience that keeps on running. So every time you create an exclusion, you basically restrict the auction, and then every time you restrict the auction, you're gonna get higher CPMs. So that's the truth. Purchasers essentially are your North Star. So if they're excluded, Meta doesn't know where to go to. Um, the other thing is that some people would exclude those audiences, and I'm talking about 99% of the accounts I audit. They exclude those audiences on Meta, but they don't exclude them on the other platforms like Google, TikTok, or Uplovin, wherever they run. Uplovin, you can't even do it. And that what happens is that they're breaking the halo effect. Basically, um, a person that actually purchased from you or is likely to purchase from you doesn't see you in certain platforms, and that doesn't help, and it really hurts brands. But the brands that it hurts the most are the brands that are doing fulfilled by TikTok or fulfilled by Amazon now, and they're losing a lot of the branded searches on Google and stuff like that. So um, the other thing is that if you do that, they exclude, for example, the last 180 days or something like that. But sometimes the products themselves have much lower, like 14 to 30-day consumption cycles. So you're ghosting your best customers because they are more likely to recommend or do something like that. So here's my recommendations and the way that I see things. The way that I run is go broad or go home. You want to make sure that you're using the Advantage Plus, campaigns, and basically you do zero exclusions, and you trust the optimization goal, the pixel, the AI to actually optimize for you. Just let it run. Don't do anything for 3 to 7, sometimes 10 days, depending on the amount of signals and the amount of time it takes the account and the campaign to go out of learning mode. I don't know how warmed up your pixel and account is and stuff like that. So, having said that, I do want to say that the only time to actually exclude a very specific audience is that if you think on that specific campaign that your offer would create any kind of like negative experience for the old customers. So, for example, a first time buy purchase code or something like that, that would create a sense of like, I'm a sucker. I paid more for this like a week ago, a month ago. You definitely don't want to do that. Um, if you don't believe me, I really suggest run a split test, either on a new account or on the same account. One campaign with exclusions, one campaign without exclusions. You're gonna see that the CPMs on the campaign without exclusions is gonna drop. Um, and at the end of the day, we're performance marketers. You want to look at your new customer acquisition cost. If you're using like a third-party tracker like Triple Whale, Northbeam, or even like an affiliate style tracker like RedTrack, you definitely want to look at the CPA over there. Let me know in the comments below if you guys have noticed that as well, and if you made the shift.